another one of our young, inspired members. We are so lucky to have these young men in our midst because they keep those of us who are a little on the opposite side of the age scale as they are, it keeps us thinking that there's all this hope out there and we can definitely tap into it. Ovidilia is our next speaker, and his evaluator is going to be Tyree. Could you stand, Tyree, and give us the objectives of this presentation?
Yes. Ovidilia gave me his advanced manual on the professional speaker, and this is to be a keynote address. And so I'm going to give you these objectives, but his timing is going to be different. He's to identify the basic differences between a keynote speech and other kinds of speeches. He's to learn how to evaluate the audience's feeling and establish an emotional rapport. He's to also learn and use professional techniques necessary for a successful keynote presentation. And lastly, to develop a speech style and delivery that effectively inspires and moves the audience to adopt his views as a collective reaffirmation of its own. And now it says timing is 10 to 15 minutes longer the club allows.
Okay, thank you very much, Tyree. Please keep those in mind when you're making your writing your evaluations. Ovidilia came to the United States in 2006, and he has faced many adversaries, but has overcome them all. Tonight he will share some of his insights as to how to get to your goal by ignoring the naysayers. Please help me welcome Ovidilia Vasquez with Naysayers. Ovidilia.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, judges and guests. As you know, my name is Ovidilia. Came to the United States 2006, overcame many adversities. If you heard my speeches before, you know what it is all about. If you haven't, you'll hear it in the future. But tonight is not about me. Tonight is about my brother. It's my brother. His name is Jose Francisco Chinchilla. Aviles is our same last name. I overcame many adversities in the United States. Undocumented, did not speak English. My mom wasn't here. I was 16-year-old working in a warehouse, box after box after box, going to school throughout the day, going to work throughout the night. Fast forward from 2006 to 2014, I bring my brother in. But check this out. When I had the great idea of bringing my brother in, I found some naysayers. Have you ever seen those guys around you? If you have, say aye.
Aye.
I too. I said, I want to bring my brother in. I'm doing great in the United States. And they said, no, it's too dangerous. He doesn't speak English. He doesn't have any paperwork. And I said, so what? Many of you have heard my speech, so what? Many of you haven't, but in the future you will. Have you ever had some naysayer talk to you out of your great idea? If you have, say aye.
Aye.
I do, but not on this one. Not on this one. We all have this great idea that means a lot to us, that can bring fulfillment to our heart. That if we can make it happen, that if we can actually make it go, not to the point where you want it to be, but through the point, where it's like a race. You're running to the finish line, but you go through it. So here's what I did. I called up my mom, and I talked to her about the idea. She says, you think he can make it? I said, the same thing as I did. Either he makes it, or he doesn't. But he's coming. And he's here. About a month ago, 4 days ago, he decided to take the trip from Guatemala through Mexico to the United States, and to today that he is here with us. He came all the way through Mexico and got to the border. Immigration caught him. They did not caught me when I came. It was easier for me. It wasn't as easy for him. But when he was in Mexico, people called, they said, we need so much money for him to get through the United States. But this person, the naysayer, when I spoke to him, a family member, by the way, you see, sometimes you're going to have people that care about you, that don't want you to do certain things, that you do want to do them. Have you ever had those people in your life before? Me too. And I just had him about 25 to 28 days ago. He said, no, don't do it. Don't send the money. They're going to steal your money. They're going to steal your money. What are you going to do if they steal the money? And I said, so what? I'm going to take the risk. I identified this guy, a family member who cared about me and my brother. And I said, he's a naysayer. So I'm going to speak my mind out today, and I'm going to declaim all these words in a certain way to give you an idea of what can happen when you ignore the naysayers. Because if you say no to the naysayers, you become one of them. And I didn't want to be one of them. I just wanted to ignore them. I sent out the money. The guy said, in about 3 to 4 days, he's going to be in the United States. I said, good. Fellow Toastmasters, you have seen myself and my girlfriend missing for a couple of weeks now. I was so freaking frustrated and stressed out because my brother is just 16 years old. I was also 16 years old when I was crossing the border. Have you heard the news lately? 50,000 young undocumented guys unaccompanied by their parents are coming to the border. He's one of them. But I took the risk. I ignored the naysayers. And that is a huge if I had listened to my family member who said, don't send the money. They're going to steal your money. You know, we got to be careful about your brother. He would have stayed in Mexico. And I would have probably had sent money for him to go back. And the dream was then dead. But I ignored the naysayer. The naysayer was identified and blocked out of my mind. As you have seen me before in my other speeches, I just go for it, follow through. My fellow Toastmaster, Justin Mendez wrote a book. Guess what? I wrote one too. But I ignored the naysayers. They said, how can you write a book? You weren't born in the United States. You don't even speak good English. You have an accent. Your grammar is bad. But I said, I'm ignoring the naysayers. And that was not only one person. That was many of them. I ignored the naysayers. How many of you are with me that from now on, it is okay to ignore the naysayers, even if they're your family members? If you're with me, say aye.
Aye. Especially if.
That's right. That's right. We have to ignore the naysayers. Not say no to them because we become one of them, but from today on, we can say, block them out. We can say, no more. You know, when you're working towards your dream, your goal, your idea, here's what you can do. Here's what you can do. When they say, no, Paula, don't do it. That's too dangerous for you. No, Thomas, you're okay where you're at. It's too dangerous for you. Don't go there, Bob. Don't go. Here's what you can say. Shut up. I'm trying to do something here. Because aren't you trying to do something when the idea comes into you and you want to do it? There's laws of universe that said that if there's a wish put into your heart, if there's a desire big enough, it's because it is possible for you to make that idea come alive. My idea was to bring my brother here. I said, I'm going to bring him here the same way as I came here, and I'm going to teach him English, and the main trick is from me to him is going to be his determination. He was willing to give up his life just like I did. Now he needs the knowledge, just like I needed it. And I still need more, but I have more than he has, so I can get to share. So once I see his determination and use his determination with him, we can follow with the knowledge. I'm going to send him to school. But we decided to avoid the naysayers. You know what people said when he came by? To my house, I picked him up in the airport about 4 days ago in San Francisco. They said, what's he going to do now? Is he going to work in construction? I said, no. He's going to go to high school and he's going to go to university. They said, no, put him to work because he doesn't have any paperwork. I said, no, he's going to go to school and he's going to go to university. There's this guy who's an naysayer. The same freaking guy. I mean, it's just crazy. People trying to protect you, right? They're trying to, they say protect you, but it isn't really protect you. I mean, you have all agreed with me that from now on, we're going to identify those people and just ignore them. You know, not tell them anything bad or arrogant and like, no, dude, you're not right. But you know what? I'm just going to decide to go with my gut feeling. Remember the skeleton? Did not cross the road? You better cross that road. It takes guts. It takes guts to say, yes, I was willing because he was willing to give up his life. I was willing to also say, let me also go ahead and risk it for him. And you know what? He's here tonight. He's here with us, and you're going to see him develop and grow because I'm going to be bringing him. But all happened because we ignored the naysayers. After the determination and knowledge, we're going to go through the persistent key. Because just as I have been persistent on developing myself in the self-growth path from 2011 when I graduated high school, I discovered Think and Grow Rich, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, How to Avoid Worrying and Living, and just these other great books. Now I'm going to teach him the persistence, the great step that can take you not to your goal, but through your goal. Now look at that guy. His camera just fell, but he's going to be so persistent, he's going to pick it up and start recording again. That is persistent, is that right? If you're with me, say aye.
Aye.
That's right. We have to ignore the naysayers. Who do we have to ignore?
Naysayers.
Yeah, we have to identify it. And the first thing, as I said, instead of the $10, he just have to ignore the guy. And that's what I did for my brother. I ignored the naysayers. Even my family members said, don't do it, don't do it. But where did I learn this gut feeling that I got? From my mom. From my mom. My mom crossed that same border 6 times, ladies and gentlemen. 6 times. My mom only went to school 3 through the 3rd grade. But he has guts. I mean, she has guts. That's right. That's how you know I'm learning English, right? Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So, the reason I'm here today, sharing this story, here's why. Because I decided to ignore other naysayers. Have you ever heard people say, maybe not you, but maybe you heard other people say to other people? They have told me the same thing. Don't say that you're undocumented. And I said, so what? Because you know what? Maybe one day I'm gonna be giving a speech, and there's someone going to be sitting in the audience who's going to have the key for me to unlock that door that I'm still looking forward to unlocking. And by the way, I'm already going through the process to unlocking the door. But it's the persistence. It's the persistence. Someone told me, don't say that you're a professional speaker because you still have an accent. I said, come on, dude. Guess what? I get paid $500 to speak, sometimes for only 30 minutes, sometimes for 1 hour. I never got paid even $20 an hour before. But what is the key? My key first was my determination to come to the United States. I got some knowledge in school and in the self-development field. All the books, all the seminars, all the conferences. I mean, we went to meet the guy from the ABC Secret Millionaire TV hit show, James Malinchik. The guy is a millionaire. He's like, hey, sure guys, let's take some pictures, 4 days with the guys. I was looking for some more knowledge. And now, the persistence. The persistence that still is an ongoing process for me as I am here today, because I'm not done yet. I'm like a shoe who needs to be cleaned up a little bit more so it shines a little bit more. This is supposed to be a keynote. It's not the most perfect keynote you have ever heard, is it? No, maybe not, right? That's right. And it's okay. I'm okay with it. Because you know what? My persistence will take me to that keynote that you were probably expecting today. But I'm going to ask you, when are you going to take your persistence to your goal and idea? That someone in your family who you have agreed earlier on that said that you have a naysayer who took you out of that idea, when are you going to take the determination to go through with that idea? When are you going to take the determination and to take the knowledge to maybe, we're all here learning how to speak better, why not get paid? I mean, my fellow Toastmaster just told us how to write a book, gave us some ideas, but if you can write a book, you can certainly speak because you have spoken for years. I mean, everybody speaks. Some people get paid. When are you going to get that knowledge? When are you going to be persistent enough so that you say, you know what, let me find out how this guy gets paid. Let me see how long it takes me to start getting paid. Because when I heard that this guy was getting paid because he speaks on video games, I said, oh, video games? You gotta be kidding me. But guess what? There is an audience for you. And so the three keys, determination and knowledge and persistence, but ignoring the naysayers. Ladies and gentlemen, officially, family por acá, officially, please help me welcome my brother. Welcome to the United States. Take those keys with you. Ignore the naysayers, because dreams do come true, especially in America. Thank you.
So now we're going to give you, now we are going to give you 2 minutes to make some notes. Reed to do his evaluation.
Thank you, brother. And I want to thank Justin for mentioning me in his book. I want to declaim that. Goes to that chapter. Let's get to down to business. Ovidilia, this was a keynote address, and I'm not sure if the timer put this at 10 to 15 minutes. I think it was more than 5 to 7. And it deserves more than 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to go through the guidelines in this manual, but I'll add some other things to it as well. What did the speaker do to arouse the audience following the introduction? You have great energy, good movement, and your inflection of a voice shows that you're passionate about the subject matter. The next question, though, does go to the objectives of a keynote speaker, and it said, did the speaker communicate to the listeners that he was united with them in bonds of sympathy, common experience, or understanding? I wasn't sure if you had established that bond of common experience. It is something that I think with more time can get us to unite with you with this empathy that you want. But that came through in the conclusion, not in the beginning, when you brought your brother on. But you do have a lot of passion, and it's conveyed in a very personal manner. You're energetic. You made the audience care about your subject mainly by having your subject present among us. This was not just a story we heard about. This was someone who was here present with us. You used word pictures that I think were pretty captivating. When you talked about shining your shoes and just moving forward. The last thing that it covers here is, did the speaker give the audience a final thought to take away after the speech? What was it, and what manner of closing did you convey? So the final thought that I got was determination, knowledge, and persistence. But what you didn't say that I thought was embodied in your embrace with your brother was that love conquers all. That came through loud and clear. So as much as we have this path and things that we want to accomplish, I would like you to think about including the motivations that really get the rest of the audience to move forward with the kind of energy and passion that you have. So those comparative techniques, because when you talk about the naysayers, I heard it very clearly, and you had the audience agree with you, but you have to give the naysayers or your opposition some credence, some weight, so that then when you give your oppositional points, you have even more weight. Just because you say they're naysayers, you make them seem like they're lightweights.
Right.
Right? So give them their fair due. But your argument stands on its own and is higher than theirs. But it's not as though they're just lightweights. Oh, just because they said that, they didn't care. Well, they may have had their reasons, and therefore acknowledge that logic. And then that helps build yours with your logic and your passion. And I'll open it up to the rest of the audience. Justin.
Thank you, Terry. Really powerful conclusion. Obviously, I think we can all agree on that. One thing that you touched on just now, Terry, that I mentioned for improvement was you did the they care about you thing. And to me, that sort of implies that we're saying they don't really care. But to them, they probably do really care. And they may be wrong, and you may think they're wrong, but this to me implies like they're doing it intentionally to try to mess with your plan and to just be negative for the sake of being negative. But I think a lot of those people, they really, really sincerely believe that they have your best interest in mind. And I think that it helps to, kind of like you said, to sort of acknowledge that. So I just kind of wanted to build off a little bit of what Terry was saying, because that was really the only thing for improvement that I wrote down. Otherwise, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Justin.
I thought your passion was overwhelming. You had us in your grasp. If you came up to here a little bit more, you would actually be touching our hearts. I mean, you already had our attention, and you came up halfway. I almost wanted to do a high five, but I couldn't. Just because you had us in your grasp, I would have come all the way up here.
Anybody else? I'll come back to Justin.
So this just came to me. If you're planning on doing this speech again, especially for this group of people, because you're mentioning how you can connect with people, right? Look at what a diverse room we have in here. My grandparents, and probably nobody in this room knows this, but my grandparents came here illegally from
Justin,
Mexico.
you're killing me on time.
Yeah.
But continue. I'll give it up. I'll forget it. Go.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that that's one way that you could connect with every single person in this room is our origin. Every single one of us probably came from somewhere or knows someone who came from somewhere or who has a family member that we wish we could reach back, even if it's someone who's passed away, we wish we could reach back into the past and pull them to where we are in our physical realm, like you've done with your brother.
Thank you, Justin, for declaiming that wonderful bit of wisdom with us.
Declare.
Thank you, Ovidilia.
Ovidilia, I want to present you with a certificate from the club. We gave these out at our recognition dinner a couple of weeks ago, and you weren't with us. This is for completing your competent communicator. Before we move on to our live, could you introduce your brother, because you say his name so fast I couldn't quite hear it all.
Okay. So this is my brother Francisco, Jose Francisco, and as I said, he's 16. Came like 3 days ago, and he's gonna be coming. He's probably gonna become a member. I don't know how he's gonna do the speeches or something. We'll figure that out, or he's gonna come and learn for that.
Thank you.
Then he learns English. Yeah.